If you're a VR player, you probably know at least a little bit about Boneworks, and its less popular brother, Bonelab. Bonelab is a bit closer to my heart because it was the first game that really made me feel like I was in another world. I mean, I've clocked hundreds of hours into this game, and I've loved every second of it. One of the worst VR mechanics I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. But Bonelab did have a fair amount of flaws, which made a lot of people crave the original game, Boneworks. And I'm not gonna lie, after a couple hundred hours, even I was looking for something more. But, unfortunately for Quest users, Boneworks was out of our reach. It was a PC exclusive. So, unless you wanted to spend upward of $1,000 on a gaming PC, you were out of luck. That was until two champions of the people, named Volts64 and Evro, made a port of all of the Boneworks levels and uploaded it as a mod for Bonelab, and they called the mod Labworks. Finally, Quest users could play Boneworks, and that's what this video is about. I'm sure you've heard by now that SLZ is making a full port of Boneworks for the Quest 3 and 3S, which will essentially make Labworks obsolete, and that gave me an idea. I should play through Labworks one last time as a goodbye to a mod me and so many others have sunk countless hours into. But as I started to play, I realized that Labworks might not become obsolete just yet, and I'll explain why later in the video. But for now, I just want to tell you guys my experience playing the mod again. Did I just immediately get a headshot? Yeah, holy crap, I got him! Look at that! Something that I remembered really early on is that they didn't just add the levels. They added Boneworks music, weapons, and soup cans, which, to my knowledge, are not in vanilla Bonelab. So that means they had to retexture a can that you most likely will never see because it's in a random locker at the beginning of the game. And speaking of textures, there's a separate mod you can install that makes all the enemies have their old Boneworks textures. These are the original guys! Pair that with a Ford avatar pack and it looks almost identical to the original Boneworks. However, there is one teeny tiny problem with this mod, and that is that Boneworks and Bonelab have an ever so slightly different physics and player skeleton system. Normally it's not noticeable, but there are one or two parts that you can just skip because the Bonelab player can jump higher than the one in Boneworks. And again, I can't emphasize enough how minor these problems are. Most likely you won't notice them if you're not looking. Can I pick this up? I can pick this up. Can I put it on my head? I can put it on my head, look at that! That's game design right there. I was having a super fun time just playing through the mod again. Even though the mod hasn't been around for very long, I still have a lot of nostalgia for it. Just running around, shooting enemies, solving puzzles really made me notice how few real puzzles there are in Bonelab. Sure, there are a few in Ascent, but nothing quite as memorable as the puzzles in Boneworks were. Even the final boss in Boneworks is a puzzle in a way. You have to grab cores from the center room and shoot them out of cannons at the time clock, which if you've never played the game, that probably just sounded like nonsense. I'm sure just looking at this fight, you can see the inspiration taken from Portal. This game is a beautiful mixture of Portal, Half-Life, Counter-Strike, all the old Valve games. But instead of controlling the main character, you are the main character. You are Chell. You are Gordon. Or in this case, you are Arthur. Look at how SLZ started off, and look at where they are now. I would say this game's very existence is proof that if someone wants to do something, and if they put their all into doing it, they can make something that will be remembered for decades to come. And I think at the core of it, that was Volx's and Evro's reason for spending so much time porting this game to the Quest. They wanted to let Quest users be able to experience this masterclass in game design. And that brings me to my final point. Everybody who says that this is it for Labworks is forgetting about an entire demographic. Quest 2 users. Boneworks 2.0 will be coming to the 3 and 3S, but there still will be plenty of people who haven't upgraded yet, or don't want to spend the money on a new headset. And that's how I know Labworks will not die. Not yet, at least.